Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today, courtesy of our friends across the pond at boxing247.com. But let me start off with a quick little story that popped up in my feed, courtesy of a newspaper over in the UK called The Mirror, which we may not be familiar with over here in North America and other parts of the world who are tuning in right now. But let me tell you this. At the end of the day, this is all about Conor Benn and the fight that he was supposed to have with Chris Eubank Jr., which was, how do we say this? Suspended and or postponed and or canceled, depending on who you're listening to. But at the end of the day, what is most upsetting about that fact, other than more than likely, both Ben and Eubank Jr. have enough money in the bank not to worry about these things either being canceled, suspended, or postponed. It is those fighters on the undercard who really are the quote-unquote losers in this little tiff. As we all know, Ben was set to meet Eubank at London's O2 Arena on Saturday night, this past Saturday night. And, it's a decent pay-per-view audience and likely a sold-out crowd. But also on the undercard, we had Lyndon Arthur, Felix Cash, Shannon Courtney, many other fighters prepared to go toe-to-toe. And then, of course, the British Boxing Board of Control decided to, as I say, prohibit the event and issued an official statement, which may or may not have been contested, and the promoters may or may not have been searching for other commissions to sanction the event. But at the end of the day, it was canceled. Therefore, the fighters on that undercard are understandably upset. And one of those who spoke out quite loudly on Instagram was Shannon Courtney, one of our favorite fighters here on Talk and Fight. She said, worked harder than ever this camp to come back after 2 huge operations. Got back into great shape and felt better than ever. So for this to happen, I'm hugely devastated. This training camp has cost me a lot of money. Travel, accommodation, nutrition, and sparring. The list goes on, and I won't get any compensation. Get me a fight date ASAP. That's truly a shame. Other fellow female star Ellie Scottney, who's due to fight on the bill as well, wrote in separate tweets, "I hate boxing sometimes. Man, I was so ready to fight." And she then responded when someone asked if she would receive compensation. She tweeted, "Zero. A fighter with no sponsorship backing either." Undercard fighter Chloe Watson and Scottney's nutritionist Peter James Bell also added, "Through no fault of their own, Ellie Scottney and Chloe Watson are not fighting. People don't see what boxers go through during camp to make it to fight night. The training and diet is serious work and requires extreme sacrifice, not to mention the cost of camps, physios, food, sparring, training, and living expense costs. To be then stolen the opportunity to earn a living. Boxing can be a right shithouse at times." Woo. Other fighters tried to remain positive despite the huge frustration, with Chief Support Cash writing, "Gutted to hear the fight's off, but I'm ready to fight after another hard training camp." Eubank Jr.'s cousin, Harlem, who was set to fight on the card, also wrote, "Gutted, I'm not fighting this weekend, but essentially the sport we love is kept clean." No, sorry, he said, but essential that the sport we love is kept clean. Heavyweight prospect Matty Harris, again, another of our favorites here on Talk and Fight, added, "Absolutely heartbroken. And for anyone asking the fight is off, hope to be out fighting again as soon as possible." Fair enough. So a series of fighters basically missed out on a huge opportunity on the card, and they may look to alternate cards, including Katie Taylor's upcoming return to the ring, But realistically, obviously, this really hurt an awful lot of fighters, and an awful lot of fans got hurt by this as well. I mean, they were truly looking forward to a great night of boxing over in the UK, and it just won't happen. And will it happen in its total package? I don't think so, but we'll see. I kind of doubt it because I truly hope that Conor Benn is suspended for the 4 years that is being discussed at the moment. In better news, Turkish boxing fans witnessed 2 Universal Boxing Organization world champions being crowned on Friday night, October 7th, at the Basirli Spor Salonu in Trabzon in Turkey. Fighting in his home turf, 2012 Olympian Fatih Kelez won the vacant UBO World Super Welterweight title, stopping Tanzanian champion Kulwa Bishiri in the 8th round. After 3 even stanzas, the local hero started taking over from round 4. Bishiri was the busier, but Kelez landed the harder shots. Great photo, by the way, on boxing247.com. So Kelez, now 32 years of age, a former WBO European titleist, improved his professional record to 15-1-1 with 9 knockouts. Bishiri, 29 years of age, travels back to Dar es Salaam at 15-7-1. Elsewhere on that card, we saw a young teenager, young female star in the rising here in the co-main event. 19-year-old UBO European champion Dilara Yücel captured the vacant UBO World Female Super Welterweight crown, scoring a unanimous decision over another Tanzanian in Grace Mwakalamli. Whoa, it's a tough one. In a competitive fight where both boxers were momentarily stunned, She-Wolf Yücel took her record to 11-0, but had plenty to deal with from the awkward African, who at times gave as good as she got. So there you go. Some good fighting on the weekend, especially down in Turkey. Right, let's move along now to another part of England, where Danny Ball warmed up for his upcoming English welterweight title fight with a busy victory over Peter Alexandrov that took place in Dudley on Friday evening as well. Ball moved now to 12-1-1 as he dispatched of Alexandrov. Bell was too big, too strong, and just too good for his opponent, who, to his credit, gave it his best shot. Again, if you want some good photos, please go to boxing247.com just to get a feel of the punches that were landed in this fight. Also in that fight, Cosley's Liam Gould made the perfect start to life as a professional as he defeated Brierley Hill's MJ Hall 40-36. Gould's a nephew of former pro Jimmy Gould, handling the always tricky Hall well, catching his opponent with some sharp shots on the way to a shutout win. Birmingham's Brandon Jones didn't have it all his own way against Poland's Patrick Pulisic. The Kelmsey Wood pugilist, clearly the bigger man, had success when he doubled up on his jab and used his height and reach advantage. However, Pulisic did well at times to close the gap as he tried to take Jones into deep water. Jones showed enough composure to earn a 6th straight win, though, as he met fire with fire in the 4th and final round. A sharp 1-2 rocked Pulisic, who took some punishment, and it was enough for referee Christine to wave this one off with just 12 seconds of the contest to go. And finally, Stafford's Ashley Pettigrew navigated past the always tricky Paul Big Sexy Cummings as he moved to 2-0 after a stoppage win on his debut at the same venue back in June. Pettigrew found Cummings a much tougher obstacle to shift. The 24-year-old super welterweight from the village of Doxey in Stafford stayed patient and composed against his Warminster opponent to record a shutout 40-36 victory. Good stuff. Alrighty, let's move along now to something that was covered on Talkin Fight this weekend. Unbeaten super welterweight sensation Sebastian the Towering Inferno Funduro defended his interim WBC super welterweight title with a dominant and entertaining unanimous decision over Mexico's courageous Carlos Acamba. That was on Saturday night and is on Showtime. coming to you from the Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California. And it topped a Premier Boxing Champion event. Fundora is now 20-0-1 with 13 knockouts, fighting out of Coachella, California, and fresh over a victory over Aronson Lubin. Had in a potential 2022 Fight of the Year back in April, showed off his noted ability to fight on the inside while also flashing an improved jab against a competitive Ocampo, who's now 34-2 with 22 knockouts, who rode a 12-fight winning streak into the bout. Very good stuff. And that was well covered by the scorecard. Jesus, Murphy, having a senior moment. All right. On Friday, October 7th, a Pro Box event. Now, we all know Pro Box is a quartet formed by Roy Jones Jr., Juan Marquez, Paulie Malignaggi, and Antonio Carver, who are all ringside, by the way, commentating on this fight on October 7th in the main event on the Pro Box TV battle. Former champion Can Monster Shu lost a split decision in his ring return against Brandon Leoncito Benitez. Cedric Ben. How could I forget that? The scores were 96-94, 96-94 for Benitez, and 97-93 for Zhu. Said Roy Jones Jr., Zhu came out on the attack, frequently landing the jab, but then moved by round 4. Benitez began countering with combinations. Zhu was landing a nice overhand right, but didn't throw it enough, and Benitez was landing about 6 shots to every one of Zhu's. In the co-featured bout, Cesar Rainman Francis KO'd Francisco Roca Armenta with an uppercut in round 2. So some good fights. Let's see if, yes, there are some other decisions. Let's see here. Benitez wins. Cesar Francis out of Brooklyn, New York, went toe-to-toe against San Miguelito out of Panama. 12-0-7. He KOs. Sorry about that. Sorry, misread that completely. Cesar Francis out of Brooklyn, New York, via Panama. 12-0 with 7 knockouts. Defeats by knockout Francisco Armenta. Another technical knockout. We had Daryl Valsaint battling Paul Mendez out of California. And I believe Darrell Valsaint was actually featured by Mike Orr on Knuckle Up last week. Check that out. Anyway, another unanimous decision. Kanat Islam out of California via China. No, he doesn't. No, it's a 28-1 record, 22 knockouts. Wow. Someone I haven't heard of. All right, he actually won by unanimous decision over Javier Maciel out of Buenos Aires. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of today's episode. I hope you appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining me. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification, please. And we'll see you later on at 4 p.m., as I said, when we join Cedric Ben and Mike Orr for Knuckle Up. Thank you.